welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about TV, movies, comics, animation, and all things geek. We're talking about one-season wonders. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
This is Tommy Smithereens.
And I'm Clifton.
All right, one-season wonders. Great shows that went for only one season. Self-explanatory, but we have some rules. We gave ourselves some parameters to follow. So, one-season wonders, but that means no miniseries. Miniseries are all out of contention. The distinction we drew was that basically they're all designed to be finite and know that going in. So no miniseries. Had to be picked up as a series and ran for at least 6 episodes, so nothing that we say is just a promising pilot. Had to go for at least 6 episodes. Also excluded nothing that maybe went for more than a season, but we determined that it's only good for a season. So those are out. And finally, nothing that has been since revived. So quick. Actually is only one season, had to be picked up for a series, ran for at least 6/5 episodes. No miniseries, no revival since.
That's a lot. It's a lot to remember.
That's the one. I stepped in the no revivals thing a lot. Gearing up for this one. Oh,
they bring everything back.
Oh, man. That made it tough.
Everything.
So, all right. So let's go around with our first choices. Frank, start us off.
For me, I went with Wonder Falls. Does anyone remember Wonder Falls?
Yes.
Had a great theme song. Had a great premise. Wonder Falls was on, was it Fox, right? Fox Network?
Correct.
Right around 2004. Created by Todd Holland and Brian Fuller. Focuses on Jay Tyler, played by Caroline DeVernis. It's about this girl who's kind of in a dead-end job at the Niagara Falls gift shop, who begins to have conversations with inanimate objects. Like they literally see, she sees them come to life and usually they sing to her, if I remember correctly.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But they have conversations and then it sort of directs her to people in help that need help or that need her aid.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. I loved it. I thought it was one of those shows that should have gone on for much, much longer than it did. And apparently they had plans for another 2 seasons. They kind of tell their story in 13 episodes, but there's definitely plans for more, but they got canceled. In doing the research, I saw that they were shopping it around to what was at that point the WB network.
Okay.
To see if they would pick it up, but there wasn't enough interest. Had a pretty strong following.
Yeah.
People seem to like it. It also had, let me see, Katie Finneran.
Mm-hmm. Finneran, yeah.
Lee Pace, the great Lee Pace.
Lee Pace, yeah, that was Lee Pace's first thing I ever saw him in.
Yeah, me too. He was, what was he? I can't remember. Was he?
He was her brother.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he was her slacker, overeducated brother in that one.
William Sadler, the great William Sadler, played her dad.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, every week it was a new object. It was something that was talking to her, and at the same time, she was trying to convince herself that she wasn't going crazy.
Right.
That was another big part of the show too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, did anyone else? I know who else watched it.
I watched it because you loaned me the DVDs and told me it was great for years.
You did actually watch it though, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Loved it. Loved it. My wife and I watched it together. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's great.
That was a sarcastic boo I gave at the thing.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. But yeah, it's a great Brian. I mean, if you like Brian Fuller,
it's one of his early ill-fated shows. He's had more ill-fated shows since then, but this is one of his earliest ill-fated shows.
It does have a crossover, character with Pushing Daisies, if you're familiar with that show. Another great show by him.
Another great ill-fated show that went 2 seasons.
But it got 2 seasons.
Right.
Yeah, the writer's strike at the time is what did that one in, because it had a really strong following on ABC, but because of the writer's strike, it did not ever recover. But they managed to get to a second season. The way I remember with Wonder Falls is it didn't air everything on Fox, and there were still 3 or 4 episodes on the DVD set, right?
It's more than that. That's
more
where
than that?
This one skirts our rules. This one definitely skirts the rules we've already just stated.
Okay. Well,
only 4 episodes ever ran on Fox.
What?
Oh, wow.
No, that can't be right. No.
I researched it, and that's the research I found, was that 4 episodes aired on TV,
Okay.
and 9 more episodes unaired appeared on the DVD set.
Wow. So that's okay. Well, sorry for breaking the rule.
That's all right. I mean, there were 13 ordered. It had an initial order of 13 episodes. They made 13 episodes, and then Fox just didn't air all of them.
Did they air the pilot?
Yes. Yeah, they aired the Smush Face Lion, which was the pilot.
I thought this was a kind of a funny also era in that way, where like pilots at this point were made and not necessarily always aired. And sometimes what you got a lot of times was like a pilot was ordered, you made it, the studio liked it, and then the first episode you did when it was picked up was you basically like reshot the pilot.
Sometimes that happened, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. That sometimes happened. But I think this one I think we did see the shot pilot, and I don't think it was redone. Not that I know of, but I'm not positive.
No, that's the way I remember it too. But then again, I thought most of the episodes aired on the network, and then there's only like 3 or 4 left. But no, it's the exact opposite. It's the reverse. So
yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I couldn't find it as being streaming anywhere.
No, it's not.
You can still buy the DVD sets, I think.
And that's it. You can't buy it digital either.
Yeah.
It's not streaming.
Oh, wow.
You can't buy it digital. You can only buy like old used DVDs, not Blu-ray, not anything, just like the actual initial DVD set offering.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that is something. I worked in retail at the time. I worked at Borders bookstore, rest in peace at the time. and it was like kind of a big thing. I remember like it did get a cult following pretty fast, to the point where like this was like by, I'd say, spring of 2005. That was when this DVD came out, after the show had run its short course in 2004 on Fox.
Right.
But there was like enough demand, because this was like the heyday of TV box sets, of DVD box sets too, was like right around that mid, 20-aughts, like 2005 is when it started. And I do remember it being like kind of news, like, oh, like they're going to put the rest of the episodes on it. And I do remember it being kind of a pretty good seller on the DVD box set, but that is the only way you can ever purchase it now.
Okay.
For now.
Well, I would recommend getting it if you're looking for something quirky and fun to watch. It's not so death-centric as some of Brian Fuller's stuff.
Right.
But not that that's necessarily bad for some of his stuff, but I highly recommend Wonderfalls. And again, I wish it had gotten more than just the one, and now I'm finding out the 4 episodes that aired.
Right.
The 13 total. But yeah, like it's whimsical. It's smart. It's clever. I like that.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's got nice. It's got heart. But like that's like, it's kind of, the heart's disguised in it, and that's what's funny, because you hear the premise and you think something like
Touched by an Angel,
like Touched by an Angel, or early edition is what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, same vibe,
right?
Like very wholesome, like this, like they've gotten instruction and they do what helps people, but that's not always the case with Jay, the main character in this. When these inanimate, sometimes cartoonish animals come to life and tell her stuff to do, it doesn't always seem like it's nice stuff she's doing. It's just what the universe wants to happen.
Right.
And it works out eventually, but it definitely doesn't look like it's going to all the time, while she's just blindly following these orders that these talking things tell her to do, like this little plastic it's a wax smushed face lion that came out of a vending machine in her souvenir shop at Niagara Falls. And she certainly thinks she's crazy half the time doing it, but
and she is also very much a reluctant hero in all this too,
right? Which
is great.
Yeah, but no, it's a ton of fun. And if you get to the extra episodes, there's another cameo in Jewel State. Shows up in a later DVD exclusive episode.
Right.
All right. So Wonderfalls. All right, Tommy.
Okay. One show I was looking at that caught my attention was something I don't think any of you guys watched, but I'd be surprised to see if you did. And that's the show Enlisted. This is also a Fox show. I think we're going to have a theme with Fox in general, because they went through a slew of shows like Paper. So one of the ones that they casually tossed away, in my opinion, was Enlisted. Well, Enlisted was a show by Fox, premiered on Fox in 2014. It was a 13-episode order, single camera comedy. The premise of the show is To me, it was simple, but it seems complicated, so stay with me. 3 very different brothers, each soldiers in the U.S. Army, find themselves all assigned to the same unit, the fictional A Company, 2nd Battalion, 618th Infantry Regiment, 1st Brigade Combat Team, 18th Infantry Division at the fictional Fort McGee, located in Florida. While the majority of the base's personnel are deployed overseas, the 2 younger brothers, named Derek and Randy, are assigned to Rear Detachment, which are the soldiers left behind to take care of the base. The oldest brother, Staff Sergeant Pete Hill, is returned stateside from Afghanistan after punching a superior officer. He is assigned to supervise a platoon of misfits that include his brothers. While working together, the brothers are able to renew and strengthen their bonds. To me, I love this show just because it was goofy. And the soldiers that they threw on are future stars in their right. Like they were ultimately like comedians that they just made ready-made actors.
Okay.
And what really pulled me in was Keith David was their superior officer.
Oh, wow.
And so
He's great.
it was great because he always was one step ahead of him, and it was funny as hell. And they also revisit the fact that he had 1 foot. I don't know if that's real or not. Does Keith David has 1 foot?
No, I've never heard that.
Okay, all right.
Not that I know
I'm
of.
not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I've never heard it.
Okay, this is the second time he's being filled with just having a fake foot. The first time is in Dead Presidents. If you ever watched that movie, he has a fake foot in that. There's a funny
Good
scene that
soundtrack.
involves that. This is the second one, in which, again, he has a fake foot. So I don't know if he likes playing with a fake foot or not, or really has one. Who knows? But it's memorable. But Michelle Buteau is also part of supporting cast. We even have Ron Funches in his early days. He's in the pilot, but then he's also appears in one other episode. It's like they rotate certain people. But overall, you can clearly tell that the cast is former comedians or current comedians that round out the cast. Joel Stoltz, he's one of those people that are constantly appearing in comedies, but you seem like, oh, I've seen him before. Same with Chris Lowell and Parker Young. But I love the show. Many funny episodes, just how goofy the military can be, or straightforward, or just the problems concerning 3 brothers. But the standout episode that I loved the most was when they randomly book Kid and Play to star in as the show's entertainment, and they legit get Kid and Play on there, and they do their bit, and it's a nice like bit of thing. Like I guess it was their revival at one point, but they were on the show, and Keith David upstaged them with his singing, which is hilarious. Okay. Again, I think it's a great episode, but it's one of the many shows that Fox cancels before its full season run ends. I think they were allowed to end out their season in the 13th episodes, but you can find this show streaming on Hulu currently right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's one I remember the commercials.
Yep, I do too.
But I never saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember the ads.
I think it was a time when I was like, I'm not going to commit to a Fox show. They'll cancel it.
Oh no, yeah, it's very valid, but you'll see certain cameos of further comedians that stayed on there. I'm forgetting quite a few, but it's one of those shows that you let play in the background while you're cooking, just to catch the jokes and look back to say ha 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 ha, then go about your day or whatever. But yeah, I enjoy it. Enlisted. I'm sure none of you have watched this.
Never seen it.
I haven't yet. But at least it's available to watch easily.
Yeah, that is the plus.
That's a blessing.
But that's because it's recent. I think we're going to have any trouble to anything that's 90s and earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was 2014, so we're not even a decade back yet.
Yes.
Clifton, what's your first one?
I am just going to go, this is one, these are more recent ones. So several of them on my list are actually more recent ones, and some I have talked about here on the show before in the past years. So this first one I'm going to pick is Teenage Bounty Hunters on Netflix.
I knew you were going to have this one. Nice.
Which it was one of the first shows that Netflix that only had one season before they started canceling everything. So this one came from 2020, and little description is Teenage Bounty Hunters is a coming-of-age comedy drama series that follows the adventures of fraternal twin sisters, Sterling and Blair Wesley, who lead a double life as high school students by day and bounty hunters by night. After accidentally stumbling into the world of bounty hunting, the two sisters team up with a seasoned bounty hunter named Bowser, played by Kadeem Hardison, to track down fugitives and solve crimes. So that's the quick summary of it. But it's a very funny show. It only ran one season on Netflix, so it is still easily available. You can watch it on Netflix. It's still there for you. But it was just like, it was clever and fun and like fast paced and a lot really unexpected, like a lot of unexpected humor, because the girls play like rich suburbanites in Atlanta that go to a prestigious Christian school. And there's a lot of humor in that felt like very authentic to me as somebody who went to a Christian school at one point. So, there's stuff that's relatable if you had similar experiences to there. But it wasn't like mean-spirited about it either, which was part of the unexpected humor. Like, it just felt like very true and authentic and funny because of that. But the two main leads, Maddie Phillips and Angelica Fellini, they're both great as Sterling and Blair, and then Kadeem Hardison, who we all remember from Different World. Dwayne Wayne is playing a very different type of character in this one. Is like this old grizzled bounty hunter that's putting up with these two like rich privileged white girls, helping them track down skips. And it's a lot of fun. So I would recommend that one.
It's always sounded cool to me. I just haven't, there's just so much stuff
that
I think I'm like, yep, I'd like to get to that at some point. And then, I don't get to it.
I forgot it was a Netflix show. Yeah. I kept thinking it was an MTV show for some reason.
No, there's another show I'll bring up later that is an MTV show.
Got it. Okay.
It might be the one you're thinking of.
I was going to say that might be why I'm confusing it. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later. But I know Tommy watched this one and enjoyed this one a lot too.
Yeah.
I think he watched it before. I think Tommy watched it before me and told me to watch it.
Yep. And I knew you'd like it.
It was right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after last week when I talked about how much I love teen melodrama, because there's some of that in there too.
Yeah, but it's done so craftily. Like you can't predict how it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they throw a lot of, what I liked about it was they threw a lot of contemporary problems in it. Mm-hmm. Like stuff that you wouldn't think they mentioned, or they wouldn't talk about that. Nope. They talk about it and they go through it like it's nothing. Yeah. It's fun.
There's a very good gag where like one of the skips, one of the people they've got a bounty for is known to vandalize Confederate statues.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And just the gag is them being like, okay, like we just have to just, stake out Confederate statues in Atlanta and then we'll find her.
And then they find out.
Then they ask, Bowser, their mentor, they're like, how many Confederate statues are there in Atlanta? And he's like 147.
Yes. Yes.
And her reaction is, what? They know they lost the war, right?
Yeah.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's hilarious. It's a well thought out premise. And like and then there's also like gun wielding people. Like, for example, this is a simple statement to say they're not as stringent as gun ownership, but they lay into it to a point where it doesn't feel scary in some weird way.
Right.
Like both these girls are armed and know how to use guns.
Right.
But it's not approached in such a way that's reckless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's nice how they come across and use it.
Yeah. They come across, they approach everything from interesting angles.
Yes.
I thought, and unexpected angles.
Yes. And it's a shame it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't. That's the problem with all of these one season wonders. I think is that they all hoped there would be more.
Oh yeah.
So some of them end with some unresolved storylines. Some more than others, but we still this is one I'm recommending because I still think it's worth a watch, even though
it's fun.
Not 100% of everything gets wrapped up by the end of one season.
Oh, Method Man shows up as an adversary to Dwayne Wade. That thing's funny. It's funny as hell.
That's right.
Yeah, it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to stay recent, I think, relatively. And for my first one, I'm going to say The Defenders.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The Netflix Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just as I was building my list, I actually thought, I'm like, wow, technically you could really put any of the MCU Disney Plus shows on here, but I think that'd be disingenuous because it's like, some of those are coming back.
Right.
either as a movie or as another TV show or something like that. But Defenders, I would be, even though it looks like we may get some of those characters back, I would be very hard pressed that this is going to get revisited at any point.
Right.
And I kind of remember at the time being a little offended by the fact that, like, I feel like it was getting kind of trashed out there for people. And I'm like,
it didn't do as well as I thought it was going to do.
Right. Okay. Well, what do you mean?
I thought that would be more, like you said, I thought, as bringing those characters together, and I know some of those Netflix shows were either really, really well done or meh. And then I just thought that the idea of putting them together, even on the small screen, was a good idea. And I thought there would be like more of a push to be like, well, that worked. Let's go ahead and put them back together. Make plans for another. Kind of like the CW did it with the Arrow shows, where it's kind of like, well, we did one big crossover and it worked and people liked it. Let's do another one.
Right.
And then no, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that we were going to get more of them popping up in each other's shows after that fact, that I thought that they were going to maybe like go to that well too much is what I thought. And I was like really surprised that like they did it one time. They did it one time. That was it.
Right.
It was kind of short relative to the rest of the shows.
Yeah, I think it was
like
8 seasons when the rest were, or 8 episodes. And when the rest of them were pushing like 13 at the time per season.
But I really liked it. So, so basically it saw, the Netflix Marvel shows. So it was Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist getting the Avengers treatment, coming together, teaming up to go up against the Hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really well done. And I think I went higher register there, but I'm serious. Like, I really enjoyed it. And what I liked about it, I liked how that show was big enough that it held sort of traits of all of the other shows in itself. Where like it had echoes of everybody's music theme kind of rolled in there at times. And all those shows kind of had a distinctive look. And they did a good job of like, let's try to give it like a Jessica Jones vibe at this point. Let's give it a Daredevil vibe over here. And it's not disjointed in any way. Like it all works and it connects really, really well. And I just like, I was just kind of flabbergasted at like people not liking him. Like, why?
Right.
I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I remember when you were talking about like just like kind of mixing. I remember them doing stuff with color too. So like when you've got Jessica Jones scenes, it's like a blue, like it's a like very blue color prevalent, and Daredevil's got some red stuff, which I thought was a really fun way to instantly tell you like who you're following, which world you're in of these different stories. How do you remember that happening?
Yeah, I thought like some of the best stick moments we got was in that show. And I mean,
seeing some of the supporting characters. That's the one thing I like supporting characters from the separate shows coming together, like like Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, who were in separate shows before that, now being together in this one was very nice to see.
Yeah.
Again, I honestly thought for sure it would have been like, well, now that we've had this rolled out, we'll be announcing the second one,
right?
And then no, kind of a one-off.
I do have a suspicion as to what happened, because I do think that was around the time that Netflix knew they wanted to wind down their Marvel deal, because Disney Plus was being heavily, heavily rumored, and probably even more so, and people in the industry knew it was coming. So I feel like that might have been what happened to it in part, where they were just like, yeah, that's not the direction Netflix wanted to go anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Sad.
I think all we got after that were a couple final seasons of some of the shows.
Yep. Time to pack it up.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely fun and daring for Netflix to try it and pull it off.
Yeah, for sure. I thought so. I got the sense that it was also expensive. It was an expensive crossover.
I'm sure that's why it was 8 episodes as opposed to more.
So, but all right. Yeah, let's keep it going. So, all right, Frank, back to you.
This one is an actually quote unquote network show because it's not like a streaming or it's one of the big 3 or 4, I guess, if you include Fox, that cancels a bunch of shows. This one I really did enjoy, and I was again really surprised that it didn't go past the first season. And oddly enough, it's it's weird as to what came right after it. And then Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Okay, yeah.
It's an Aaron Sorkin show. I think it's like the only Aaron Sorkin show that didn't go multiple seasons or hasn't gone multiple seasons. But it was basically a show that was kind of like a variety show, but kind of like Saturday Night Live, but behind the scenes. So you got to see the players in and out of situations. Had a pretty good cast. I mean, it was Matthew Perry, Bradley Whitford, Amanda Peet, Steven Weber, D.L. Hughley, Sarah Paulson before, she went straight horror with everything, Timothy Busfield. I mean, the cast was good. Aaron Sorkin's behind it. I remember the episodes being, smartly written. They were a little overwrought in parts. There was kind of like, I remember the first episode opens with Judd Hirsch doing kind of a network bit. Doing the I'm mad as hell kind of.
Not going to take it. Yeah.
I'm not going to take it anymore. I think that's how it starts off. But yeah, I like the show. I thought it had legs. I thought it had a chance to be, more than it was. But yeah, it's basically kind of like the show's in transition. It's kind of like when everyone says it's Saturday Night Live is now Saturday Night Dead. One of those situations that people like to say, or that show's still on. That kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, they're trying to figure it out, and then if I remember correctly, it's Steven Weber is like the guy from the network, but Amanda Peet is the one that's basically put in charge, and then it's just a lot of a lot of fast talking dialogue, and then people trying to figure out where they fit in and what they can do, and it's kind of cutthroat, but it's not cutthroat. So yeah, I liked it. I just thought it didn't air. I think the problem with it, and this is what I meant to say what came after it was, it aired from. Ran on NBC. It did 22 episodes, September 18th, 2006 to June of 2007.
Okay.
It's comedy drama or dramedy, if that's what you want to call it. But oddly enough, in October of 2006, there was a little show on Thursday nights called 30 Rock.
Right. Yeah.
That wasn't drama. That was just like, Tina Fey's comedy. That goes for 7 seasons with pretty much the same premise.
Right. And actually had Lorne Michaels involved in producing, right? Was he a producer on that one, I think?
I believe he was. Yeah. I think anyone that was tied to SNL pretty much has to have Lorne have his hand in there somewhere. But yeah, I just think it's, the timing of it is kind of, I guess I don't know if they just didn't want 2 shows on or they didn't do very well with the ratings, but really, they're pretty much the same premise, just done differently. One's a 22-minute show and one's like a 46-minute show. So
yeah, and then 30 Rock started at the height of Tina Fey's rise.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else happen to catch it?
No.
No,
I did not.
Okay,
I read something about it recently because I forgot it existed.
Okay, well there you
go. And I'm not throwing shade, honestly. I just I forgot that Matthew Perry had like this other show that he did after Friends that wasn't Odd Couple, which I do remember.
Right.
And I did know it was a Sorkin show, but I recall, I guess like this article that it popped up on where like the show kind of took a minute to get going.
Mm-hmm.
To figure itself out. And I think that like by the time they did, it was kind of too late.
Right.
Was the sense I got, which is unfortunate. I really hate to hear stuff like that like, if the show's just not good, it's not good, right? If something's missing, then like, okay, so be it. But like if you figure it out,
and
it's getting good, and then it gets canned, that's all the more tragic to me.
Yeah, I never saw it either.
Okay.
I do remember it existed. I do remember it coming out, and it's I think it was just gone before I ever got around to watching it. But it does, like, you've got Sorkin, you got Matthew Perry, like not long after Friends.
Right.
It seems like it was destined for success. Bradley Whitford after West Wing.
Right.
I mean, it had like all these pieces that should have been a success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yet no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Again, it might. The other thing is, it might have just been really expensive to produce. That might have been the other thing too.
Right. Yeah.
You can watch it on Amazon or iTunes or Google Play or Vudu.
Right, for digital purchase, but not streaming anywhere. Another one that's not streaming anywhere on subscription services.
Yeah, I was looking at look at the backup of who else is in it. You had Ed Asner was in it. I think he played like the big boss that owned like NBC
Okay.
or NBS is what their station was.
Right.
Lucy Davis was in it. Mark McKinney from Kids in the Hall. Yeah, again.
Yeah. When I was looking up, I saw Simon Helberg from Big Bang was in like a dozen episodes or so.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, Judd Hirsch is in the pilot. Christine Lottie, Eli Wall. Again, a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, it's another one that I would recommend. I think it should have done better than it did, but again, I just think that it was probably super expensive, and Studio 60 was there. They're like, we'll take that one instead.
30 Rock. Yeah, 30 Rock.
30, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 Rock. Yeah.
All right, cool. Not a good one. I can't believe Sorkin had a show that only went one season.
Right?
That's crazy. That's really nuts. All right, Tommy, back to you.
Okay. I watched a lot of TV, but I find it troubling to find single season ones that I liked. Emphasis on liked.
Really? I figured your list was going to be huge.
It is, but I found it leaning towards animation, so I threw animation one on there.
Okay.
And for my second choice, I picked El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera. Now, this one, I came slow to the... I saw it in syndication. I'm not talking about it, but it aired in 2007 on Nickelodeon, March to January 20th, 2008. Now, surprisingly enough, it seemed like it extended past a year, but it only had one season.
Okay.
Now, the creator of it was George R. Gutierrez, and he's interesting because he went on to do like The Book of Life and My End of Three, which is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that same guy.
Okay. Yeah.
He also had a hand in Chalk Zone, if you recall, from Nickelodeon, as well as WB's Mucha Lucha, Cartoon Network's Class of 3000. So he's been in animation a bit, and what this is nice is this is like his dream project because it like mirrored his own life, and he worked on it with his wife, which is a co-creator of the show.
Okay.
The premise is it's set. The show is set in the fictional crime-ridden Mexican-American metropolis of Miracle City. El Tigre follows the adventures of Manny Rivera, a 13-year-old boy with superpowers trying to choose between good and evil. Manny's father is a superhero known as White Pantera and wants Manny to grow up to be good and fight evil. However, Manny's grandfather is a supervillain known as Puma Loco, who thinks Manny should go to the dark side. Now, what I liked about it is the character is constantly wavering between the two. He's a jerk and a hero, and it's funny how he and his best friend, I'm trying to think of her name, I think Frida, played by Grey DeLisle.
Okay. Yeah.
She's all over it. It's hilarious. It stands up because it's what's it called, type of a flash animated TV series.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very blocky, but it's well, if you've seen his other work, it's the same type of animation that he tends to go to. But I love it. It was hilarious. You can drop it on any episode, and it carries. I mean, it works from episode to episode, but it's not serialized. Like some jokes will come from other episodes, but you can watch it at any episode. It's hilarious. I recommend this at any time. Currently, it's streaming on, I believe, Prime Video.
Okay, yeah. It looks available to purchase digitally on Prime, but not streaming as part of subscription.
Yeah, it's not streaming part of it. I think it's also on Apple TV in the same regards.
Okay, on iTunes, yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? You may be able to go to Nickelodeon and see their catalog because it might still be streaming from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. It's fun because it's steeped in Mexican culture, like heavily. Like to the point that several characters have different types of accents that lean heavily towards stuff, and they'll say like certain catchphrases, what you want to think is wrong, but no, it's hilarious. There's so many characters that have a way of speaking, like, "Hey man, how you doing, man?" It's a straight up caricature, but that's the whole point because that's what they're trying to do with that type of thing. But yeah, pet project by him, George Gutierrez, great animation.
Nice to get a cartoon on there, which I had a few too, but I opted to throw them off.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool that you left it on though. We love cartoons.
Towards the show, when the show knew it was being canceled, they allowed it to close out on a weird decision, very similar to the death of Robin. in which they allowed Nickelodeon viewers to view the ending of the episode or the series finale, which they either could make El Tigre good or bad.
Oh.
Oh no.
But fortunately, people wanted to see him do good, and that's exactly where it led up to.
Okay.
But I find it to be interesting that upon airing, that they actually had an episode in which he could have been evil and be evil for the rest of his days, or be good. But yeah, that was hilarious.
And no 900 number to call though.
Yeah, no 900 number. It was, I think it's age of internet, so cast your vote online. Yeah,
Right. Internet polls always accurate.
exactly. Yeah. Yes. So much better.
Yeah, I remember when this was on. I never saw it, but I remember really liking the style from what I saw from clips and stuff. Like it was just so like kinetic and energetic at the time, especially for a Flash show. Which I mean, at that like a show made in the program Flash we're describing, which is now Adobe Animate, and now you've gone on to other things, but they always seemed much more simple and blocky, like you said before, and that this one was doing a lot of like, more daring stuff with the program that you didn't see a lot of times in some of the other more simple shows.
Yeah.
I do remember that about it.
So other than Clifton, anyone else see it? Nope. No Manny Ramirez. Okay.
No.
That's fine. Something to go check out if you happen to come across it in a weird way, because it's not apparent anymore. I feel like a lot of these shows you have to seek out like more than what you normally would go to get it. Like for example, you can't use Netflix the DVD anymore because they've closed that down. No more mailing Netflix.
They're about to mail their final DVD,
which is
later this year in a couple of months.
Yes,
because they have still been mailing DVDs this whole time.
The whole time.
It's like when you hear the last Blockbuster just closed or something, and you're like, wait. You're like, wait, there was still a Blockbuster?
This whole time.
It's kind of like that. So for my next one is going to be the one I think Zach may have been thinking I was going to bring up last time, or may have been thinking of, which is an MTV show from 2016 called Sweet Vicious.
Okay.
Which I watched it, and I don't know if anybody else did.
Nope.
Because I've never heard I've never found anyone else who watched it to talk to about it. But the description of it is Sweet Vicious is a dark comedy drama that follows the unlikely partnership between Jules, a sorority girl, and Ophelia, a hacker and weed dealer, as they become vigilantes on a college campus. Jules and Ophelia are determined to take down sexual predators and deliver justice to their victims, all while keeping their identities secret.
Yes, this is the one I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Little lengthier description. Along the way, Jules and Ophelia face their own personal struggles and form an unexpected bond as they navigate the challenges of college life and the dangerous world of vigilante justice. It was a lot of fun. It was one season again. I just kind of tuned in out of curiosity because this was at a time when MTV was making some, interesting to me shows, because I think their Scream series started around the same time, if I remember right. And that was actually really good for a couple of seasons. There were a couple good seasons of their Scream show. So I was tuning in to see what MTV was making. And this was one. And it wasn't what I was expecting. And I actually really enjoyed it quite a lot.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I tried to watch it. I think, the first 2 episodes because a particular actor that I look for is Brandon Michael Smith.
Right.
I think he played Harrison James in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's always weird.
Yeah, Brandon Michael Smith, who was a voice in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He played did the voice for Michelangelo in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and came off of Nickelodeon himself.
Yes.
I think it was Nickelodeon. I know he was a child actor.
Wasn't he also in Disney? I think he was on.
Oh, it was
Sunny
so random. It was so random, and Sunny with a Chance. Those were Disney Channel shows. That's where he came from. But yeah, I like him a lot too. He plays a friend and ally of these vigilantes in Sweet Vicious as they make people pay for their crimes on their college campus. It's a lot of fun, but only ran one season, and again, not all that available to watch, unfortunately. You can buy the episodes digitally on Google Play, iTunes, Amazon Prime, but it's not streaming on any subscription services, unfortunately. But I did enjoy it a lot.
Physical media is so important. All right. So I went completely nostalgia on this one. You guys remember the show Top of the Heap?
No, not at all.
I believe I do. I believe
the
I do.
arm wrestling shit movie with Stallone?
No.
Oh, okay.
You remember, Tommy? Top of the Heap?
That sounds very familiar.
Okay. So this was a show that was a spin-off of Married with Children.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I remember.
Yeah, Joey. I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Joey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I still don't remember it at all.
So it starred Matt LeBlanc, or very young Matt LeBlanc, as Vinny Viducci.
Of course.
And his dad, Charlie Viducci, who played by Joseph Bologna.
That's it.
Right? And basically the shtick is that there are two guys, father and son, that live in like a Chicago slum, and they're always trying to figure out some kind of like get rich quick scheme, right, to get themselves out. And so, yeah, so it had kind of a backdoor pilot that was an episode of Married with Children where like Al Bundy's in the beginning of it, really, and then that's it, and then you're just kind of off with these two other guys for the rest of the episode. And it only went like another 6 episodes after that.
6. Yeah, only 6.
It looks like it's 7 episodes total from what I'm looking at.
Which, interestingly enough, then it spun off again.
To what?
Into Vinny and Bobby.
Vinny and Bobby. Yeah, I remember
Which this one I don't remember at all.
Did it go?
Yeah.
Did it run less?
I don't remember
episodes?
that one at all. So they dropped the dad.
Who was
and it
Bobby?
was still Matt LeBlanc again,
Matt LeBlanc.
but now with his roommate.
Yeah, they just take off the dad.
Yeah. So also notable because it was Joey Lauren Adams.
Okay.
Was like was the girl that lived in the apartment downstairs below them that had a huge crush on Vinny.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and like Rita Moreno was like added to it like after like episode 2 and stuff. Yeah, like I mean, the cast of this is crazy.
Yeah, they really wanted it to work.
For this show that nobody remembers, really.
Did you say who was Bobby? Like, who's the actor? Anybody know?
I don't know. Do you remember offhand, Tommy?
Robert Torti? That was the name of the actor, I believe, from Vinny and Bobby.
I'm going to say sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I other than like the concept and stuff like that, like I don't remember. I mean, clearly hadn't seen it in years.
Right.
Like, you know, haven't watched it since I was like, I mean, we're talking like I'm 7 when this came out.
Right.
But I love this show. Absolutely loved this show when I was a kid. And it's like, you know, you have no idea how popular it is at that age or not. Like, it's just something that you're really into and it's on one day and then the next week you go to turn on and it's not.
There's no Bobby.
And you're like, what's going on? And then, but for years it was like, whatever happened to that show? I really like that show. You know?
And Matt LeBlanc was never heard from again.
Yep. Exactly. But no, I mean, honest to goodness, legit thought that came into my head. When I saw the pilot of Friends later, you know, and I was into Friends early, like very early.
Right.
I remember going, it's Vinny Viducci.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah. So I looked it up. I couldn't believe this. I like apparently you can watch it on Crackle. Had no idea. I thought for sure this is going to be one of those like can't watch it anywhere. Sorry. Like maybe you can find YouTube clips of it.
Right.
No, apparently it's on Crackle.
Like HD, right?
What do you guys think I'm doing tonight?
Enjoying some Vinny and Bobby.
So there you go. Top of the Heap if you forgot the name of it.
Wow.
I already forgot about it again.
Right. All right, Frank, your turn again.
I'm almost surprised this one hadn't come up before because it was really popular, has a really strong following, and that's Freaks and Geeks.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
On NBC. You know, American teen comedy. It's got that feel of like, you know, coming of age, and it's nice mix of like high school and junior high, and you get both the both of those cringy times in your life where, you both feel like everything's great and terrible at the same time while you're trying to figure out where exactly you fit in the world. But it was created by Paul Feige.
Okay, yeah.
Who wanted to make Bridesmaids and Spy and the female Ghostbusters. That was him. And then it was executive produced by Judd Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
Aired during the 1999.
Whatever happened to him?
Nothing happened to that guy either. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing. That guy.
Whatever happened to the cast of this show? Where have they winded up?
Mm-hmm. Yes. During the season, NBC, it was aired on NBC during the 1999-2000 season. But yeah, I did not watch the show when it was on. Like, I think it was one of those things where I don't even know if the entire, again, a situation where the entire thing aired or not. No, it says, here we go. I was right. Okay, so it says series canceled after airing 12 out of the 18 episodes.
Okay, so not all.
No.
Okay.
Became a cult classic. Yeah, it's good, but as the cast, so you got Apatow, you got Paul Feige, Linda Cardellini, never heard from again. Sam Levine, Seth Rogen, what happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Jason Segel,
who?
No. The great Martin Starr,
yeah.
Bill Haverchuck, just amazing as a kid actor in this. Joe Flaherty plays Linda Cardellini's dad, and then Busy Phillips.
Right.
And that was just like your main cast you had. I know, so when I was looking at the cast list, the bigger cast list you had is like kids that just were in and out of stuff. Lizzie Kaplan was in it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Tom Wilson.
Yep.
Who was heavily featured in our
Villains Showdown.
Villains episodes and the Villains March Madness. Played the coach. He's fantastic in it. He's that good mix of like just hard-nosed coach, but at the same time when Sam, Linda Cardellini's brother, played by John Francis Daly, has a really tough thing. He has questions about. I remember in one of the episodes, has questions about the birds and the bees and about sex in general, and he's like, I don't know who else to talk to. So they have this nice scene of Tom Wilson trying to explain as best he can as being their coach exactly how things work, and it's just one of those in a show that has a lot of nice good moments of both being really funny at the same time of just like being a kid, being in junior high and high school is just rough. But yeah, I loved it. It was one of the things, like I said, I wish I'd watched it and supported it more when it was actually on.
Right.
I believe there was plans for a second season. I wouldn't say that your series ends on a cliffhanger. I think it just ends on, it's the end of the school year and summer's coming and people go off and do different things as a result of it. And then I guess they figured once summer was over, they would pick up where they left off, from the summertime. So, but yeah, didn't get a second season. Kind of really surprised. I think it had another one where it was another show where it had a strong following and people really, wrote letters and said, hey, we'd love more of this. And then they just didn't get more out of it.
Right. Yeah, again, I didn't watch this one when it was on, but I remember people talking about this one a lot when it was on.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was just talking to the few that were watching it, but they really liked it, and everyone recommended it to me at the time. And I remember somebody saying it was tough, it's tough to watch because it's so authentic to you'll remember it from your middle school days.
Yeah.
And I never did I never have watched it yet. I should check it out now. Just see all these people back in their kid days.
No, it's great. It really does have some really great stuff in it. It's like I said, funny, it's break your heart into parts, just a really great show that it was just surprised, as I am most of the other ones we've talked about, didn't get more than one season.
Right.
Anyone else watch it?
You showed me an episode.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I think like the pilot. I mean, it is a good show. I mean, this show is almost gained mythical status since being canceled. While I was prepping and I was using the internet for help. What are some shows that only went one season? And you don't find you don't look long before you find a bunch of lists not unlike the topic we're doing right now.
Right.
And it's Freaks and Geeks perennially on every single list of one season shows that should never have been canceled, that should be brought back, that should blah 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 all that stuff. I mean this is one of those that like just completely took on a bigger life, I think, in Cancellation.
Yeah. And it's one I've heard about so much where I even had to stop and think, like, was it one season? Because I feel like I heard people talking about it for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, I had to check to make sure. I'm like, it never feels like it overstays its welcome in the first season. I mean, it's not like you're like, ugh, I got to slog through this. But at the same time, it does feel like it is more than one season. I had that same thing too. We're like, does it qualify? I'm like, yeah, it does. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll put it on my list.
And this one seems to be available everywhere to watch.
Yeah, you can watch it on Hulu right now. You can absolutely go watch it.
Prime, streaming, Hulu, Paramount Plus,
yep.
Pluto.
Yeah. Has a great theme song by Joan Jett, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it opened. Has anyone ever? I know Zach, you said I've shown it. You've seen it, but has anyone ever seen the open for it?
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, it's got the open of it. I like particularly. I won't spoil what it centers around.
Okay.
In case since you haven't seen it, but yeah, check it out, Freaks and Geeks. It lives up to the hype. That's what I'll say.
Very nice. All right, Tommy, your last one.
Okay. This was a joint project between BBC and HBO. It aired in 2009, 2010. I was excited for it because the star of it was Jill Scott. It was the #1 ladies detective agency. It aired on HBO during that time, but it was really a joint project between them and BBC, in which it aired a show based in Botswana, actually in Botswana in Africa. And the only other like critically acclaimed thing that was actually talked about in Botswana was The Gods Must Be Crazy. But that wasn't even aired in Botswana. That was aired in South Africa. So this was a kind of big deal for the country itself. It only aired, I think, 7 episodes. So it made my mark. It started out like I remember back in the day when shows used to come out, they show a movie, then a show.
Right.
This did that.
Okay.
And it came to critical acclaim. It was based upon the novels of the same name by Alexander McCall Smith. So they figured we love the books, so let's make it a show. And this was Jill Scott, the singer's first foray into acting, and she did a phenomenal job because she adopted a Botswana accent. We also get a young Anika Noni Rose in it as well. This is before she came to the fame of The Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
So she started out as there too. You also have cameos from other stars, notably I want to say Stringer Bell from The Wire. I can't think of his name to save my life right now.
Idris? Yeah,
Idris is in it as well. But as a character, just in a particular episode is such.
Okay.
But great series, of which it lasted longer, of course. I loved it. The fact that they were able to adopt the African accent, especially Botswana accent, was nice. Heavily praised. They got Peabody Award. And it was almost going to be canceled and have 2 movies close out this series, but that never came to fruition. Yeah, great series. You can catch it on HBO Max. And ironically, this is weird. It's on Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. So I don't know what's going on between those 3 people with that show.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a great series. I don't want to say, it comes off the vein of the Angela Lansbury stuff where a woman's voice to, decipher what happens. Not everything going on is life or death. It's more so in this small Botswana town in which she uncovers mysteries, sometimes 2 or 3 at a time. But it all dovetails in the end where she figures stuff out. The bigger one is one that lasts through the course of the series that figures out at the end. But ultimately, a great series.
Sounds good.
Very cool. No, I had no idea about this show.
Yeah, it's a great little show. Great little show.
All right, Clifton, what's your last one?
For my last one, I'm like torn between a bunch because I was thinking an animated one too, but I might save that if we do an underrated animation episode that we've talked about doing. I might save this one for that, this animated one for that. So stay tuned. So for this one, I am going to pick, it's another show. I've talked about it in the past. I think like early on when we first started the podcast, it wasn't very old at that time. And that is Deadly Class on Sci-Fi Channel. So this one's based on the comic series by Rick Remender that had been running for a time before the show. but it's a gritty action drama series set in the late 1980s that follows the story of Marcus Lopez, a homeless teenager who is recruited to attend a secret school for assassins called King's Dominion. At the school, Marcus is forced to navigate a dangerous hierarchy of cliques and rivalries while also learning how to kill and survive in a world of violence and betrayal. That's a pretty straightforward description of it. And I still think the show is like better than its description. Because like that sounds fine, but it sounds like pretty straightforward. And the show, I think, and I've not read the comic. I know Tommy's a big fan of the comics.
Yes.
And I had not read any of the original like Rick Remender stuff. But so my experiences are only from the show. And the show I thought was excellent. I thought the cast was good. Like they kind of play up like 80s like high school tropes, but in the form of like gangs instead of cliques. And you've got like punks versus the Southern organized criminals that are like neo-Nazis and Klan versus like the Yakuza. and the what's like the Mexican gang? I forget what the Mexican gang.
Vatos. Like they're called Vatos, but
okay.
I'm trying to think of the name specifically. But no, there's when he means it's click every. I won't say ethnicity, but damn near every gang or mafia-like trope is thrown in it, and they have their own clique.
Right, like their own faction cliques in this school, where it's like all this like group of kids is just this thing, and this group of kids is this thing, and you've got like the Russians, which look like Ivan Drago. It was just a ton of fun, over the top. The Russos produce it. The Russo brothers were the producers on it. It's got Benedict Wong as a lead in it as the principal. Yeah,
he's a principal. He's the headmaster.
Yeah, the headmaster of the school. They Rollins is a teacher at the school.
Yeah, he's a teacher at the school.
It was just a ton of fun. And like, I mean, the episodes, they definitely push the edge on violence.
Big time.
And they push the edge on style. And there's this one episode in the middle where they go to Vegas, and it's almost like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This episode is insane. Just like what they pull off visually and stylistically. When one of the kids is tripping in Vegas. But yeah, I mean, so I'd recommend that one. It is available for purchase. This one is available for purchase, just not streaming anywhere though.
Everything about this surprises me.
Yeah.
Because Clifton, I know you and Tommy like adored this show when it was on.
It was good. It was good.
I was surprised when it was canceled because the sense I got was that like it was doing okay. I was even more surprised when it was canceled that Netflix did not pick it up immediately.
Right.
This was in that phase where like Netflix was like saving a ton of things.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't believe that it wasn't spared in some way. And then like you were just saying too, like the fact that it's nowhere.
Yeah, I mean you can buy episodes digitally, but not streaming anywhere. Not even on Peacock. Like oddly enough, which is where most of the sci-fi like Universal stuff went to. If it went anywhere, it went to Peacock. And yeah, like you were saying about Netflix, like one of the show's leads is Lana Condor.
Lana Condor.
It was huge in Netflix teen movies at the time in the To All the Boys I've Loved series, which was huge for Netflix in the young demographic. And I couldn't believe that Netflix wouldn't just, buy another vehicle for her when she was already, getting so many views for them.
She was so good in this.
Yeah. She played the daughter of Yakuza in Deadly Class. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting to see more, but nope, we've only got the one season.
I like how they laid into 80s culture. A lot of music and comic books. Yeah. As far as what they invest in it. Like certain groups play certain music and they try to capture of that era really well, in my opinion, because the book mentions it, what they're listening to, while the show actually plays it.
Right. They can get the rights and you can hear it.
Yes. Which played more into the storytelling. But also, I almost thought that they were going a different path, just based upon how they were telling the story in the show as opposed to the comic, because the comic felt more linear as opposed to what they introduced later on, during the course of the show, which that made it interesting as well.
Right.
Like behind the scenes while this is going on, this is going on. Yeah.
Right.
And they would stagger the introduction of certain characters that were in the first book, but in the show they would be introduced in like the third or fourth episode. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this. But this had to be an expensive show just due to the fight choreography.
Yeah. It's not a cheap show by any means.
No, not at all.
Not in the slightest.
But Sci-Fi is another station that's known to get rid of their shows at the height of its popularity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's silly. All right. So for my last one, I'm having buyer's remorse a little bit on what I was planning to talk about. So I think I'm going to scrap it. And I think I might just go off the cuff here.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. So I was going to say Saved by the Bell, the college year. I feel like we've treaded that a fair amount.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my love of that show is well documented. And I was also going to go super obscure, and I was going to say Super Dave's Vegas Spectacular.
Yeah.
And there's not even a Wikipedia page for this show. It's like I dreamt the thing, practically. Tried to find any sign of it online.
Right.
You can't.
They scrubbed that thing from the world record.
Right, yeah. I got the Men in Black machine just like got taken to the planet with that show. All right. So we said no revivals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took that to be nothing that was brought back since. But I feel like if it is a revival itself, it's okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to say The Right Stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
So
it was
this was-
like it was a movie, so
Right.
it was reformatted into a TV show.
Exactly. And it was a book
adapted,
before
right.
that.
Right.
And so, yeah, so it was a TV show in 2020. Again, I've not prepared a ton of notes about this one because I'm changing my vote right here.
All right.
But it was something I watched during lockdown. It came out in 2020. I did enjoy it. It was not without. It was very clear to me that they needed to do a little bit more figuring out. That something was sort of like not jiving quite as well as it could. But it was a gorgeous looking show that took place in, late 50s, 1960s space race stuff. So cars are great. Suits are great. Everything about it, it looks like a Darwin Cook, drawing. Basically, like in some episodes of Queen's Gambit, right, Clifton? We were talking about that. We're like, this stuff looks like Darwin drew it.
Yeah, it looks like a page out of Parker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's absolutely gorgeous. So you can still find it. It's on Disney Plus. But my understanding too is that this was a weird partnership show that Nat Geo was producing and doing in partnership with Warner Brothers, but it somehow landed on Disney, and Disney was just sort of like, all right, we're going to pull the plug. So this is one of those things where I think that they're still trying to maybe shop it around to see if it gets picked up on HBO Max, if TNT wants to do it. But the rumors I've heard about it is that it's not going to be a direct sequel to the characters that we saw, John Glenn and and all those guys from the original Mercury missions and stuff like that. And that what it may do is you may do a time jump into the 80s, and it may follow space race stuff into the 80s. And me personally, as cool as that would be to see, I think that would be a mistake. Because I do think the characters were done well enough in The Right Stuff that I do want to see what happens to them more. And I know I can just look it up, but in
a history book.
Yeah, I thought there was something there. So, I don't know if any of you guys, caught any of it.
I don't even know it was a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It came on it was kind of early in Disney Plus's days. I didn't see any of it yet though. I kept intending to watch it because it did look cool, but I do remember it being a fairly early Disney Plus original show back in 2020. I do know they got it because it was a National Geographic show, and Fox, 20th Century Fox, used to have a stake or own National Geographic, and then when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, that's how they ended up with it.
Ah.
So that is how it ended up and other National Geographic stuff ended up on Disney Plus as they bought it in the 20th Century Fox deal. But yeah, I can see them being like, well, we didn't create this project, so we're just going to let it go to pasture, which unfortunately happens sometimes.
It kills a lot of shows a lot of times when it's, well, it's not ours, so.
Right. Or even at the same company, if a new executive comes in and he's like, I didn't invent this, so let's kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad, though.
But no, I haven't seen it yet. It's still on Disney Plus. I should watch it. I'm fascinated by the material that it covers, the content of it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, it's not perfect. I'm not going to say it's perfect by any stretch, but it's rock solid material, and I mean, man, they try and capture like the spirit of that time. I think their heart's in the right place. That's what I say about it the whole time. Their heart's absolutely in the right place at every moment of that show.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate. I do wish it would have come back. So, but all right, we are going to start wrapping up here. So we're going to close out on with sort of the flip opposite of what's a hit show that went on multiple seasons that, in our opinion, maybe you should have stopped after season 1. But first, if you like the show, you can check out all of our episodes on letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please, however you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And finally, if you want to suggest a topic, let us know in the comments, Twitter, or email. Our Twitter handle is our show's initials, LMKHII, or you can email us at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. All right.
So we're still instructing everybody to watch one season. We're just saying, there's stuff after this, ignore all that. Just still watch one season. Get one good season out of something.
Right. So, who's ready? Frank, you want to start us off?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
My choice is easy. It's Westworld.
That was mine.
Oh,
that's mine. I'm co-signing it.
All right, we can work on this one. Go ahead.
Right.
Why would you think it should stop after one season, Clifton?
Because that one season is a perfect, complete story,
right?
With an excellent conclusion.
Yes.
With an excellent climax and final episode and conclusion that leaves you completely satisfied.
Right.
With no desire for more, even though as invested as you are, you're like, that was good. That was a good finale. I don't need more. And then they gave us more.
Yes.
And I wish I had stopped at that first season.
Right. Yeah, season 1 is really great. Great cast. It's beautiful to look at. I think the design sense of it all is one of the best things about the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after season 1, I watched, I think, the next 2 seasons, and I finally quit on it. I just think season 1 is great. They never should have gone past it. Even with the tease of what season 2 could have been about.
Right.
I still is not enough to be like, oh yeah, we have to come back for another season. No, you don't.
Yeah. They tease stuff. They set up stuff for future stuff. And even at that point in season 1, I'm like, that's a cool random little thing. I don't need more of that. No. I'm fine with what you gave me.
Yes. It's better wondering at the end of the execution than what we actually got.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would wholeheartedly say Westworld should have stopped with one season.
Yeah, season 1's fantastic. So if you haven't watched Westworld, watch season 1 and stop.
Yep, and then stop. Go on about your business, watch something else, don't ever come back.
Very good. Should have walked in. I should have guessed that one. I don't know why I didn't. But
I don't rant about it much. I'm just when asked, I'm like, oh Lord.
No. You guys don't, but I do. But I mean, enough that I know. The show has a drop off.
Yeah. It's a shame because it still has so many great people involved in it in the later seasons that I wish it was better for. But it's people I like a lot to watch. But
if you feel that you need to, you can put season 2 on with the sound down and just look at some of the pretty visuals.
Right.
Because I think the set pieces are just I always keep telling myself I should check out who actually did this, but I keep forgetting to.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, great to look at, but just know the stories just don't work out after season 1. So, yep.
Tommy, what's yours?
No, you have a moment because I have several.
Oh, cool.
we have a few moments only, but
okay.
Get it quick if you can.
American Gods is one. People will argue this, but I say True Detective. I also say Prison Break. I'll always say Heroes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good choice.
Despite what Frank thinks, I say Lost.
Because
Because after that, it's just like, ugh. Okay, we're introducing this. We're
that was one of the
this.
ones I think. I know. I mean, I agree, but again, I think for me, I don't. I would not have stopped with season 1. I still say up to season 3 is pretty good, and then the rest of it's not that great. But no, I could. Yeah, I could stop with season 1 of Lost. That would be okay.
But that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, it's a good list too.
I actually don't have a vote,
No.
so I'm going to say Game of Thrones. Just because, I mean, that was my exact trajectory with the show. I was into the first season. I thought first season was really, really good. I was, and I fell behind in season 2, and I never got caught up, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
Most people will agree with you that it should have stopped somewhere along the way before it got to its finale. But the question, there's debate as to where, I think, among the fandom.
Right.
Poor Game of Thrones.
Yep.
All right. So that's it for One Season Wonders. Be sure to let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comments, Twitter, or email us at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. As always, we'll post links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com. Please remember to like us and follow us on social media, and we will see you guys next time.